pretend.
Today's May. No, today's not May. This month is May. And that means that all our little nebula people should be working on block 5. So if you're not on block 5, don't sweat it. I know some of you were saying, "Oh, I'm behind." No, you're not. Brenda's just wicked ahead.
Well, I'm starting to think we broke the rules by just giving everybody the blocks.
No,
we're just like, come get them and pick them up.
No, a lot of people have done that.
Okay, because I know that some people are kind of very. Okay.
Yeah, some people have finished. Yes, I hear there might be a back order on the finishing kit.
Probably
anyway,
the back order,
so
yeah. I'm thinking of the back
you'll all
fabric.
be waiting anyway. But anyway, what I wanted to just give a little hint. I don't want to forget about my nebula peeps. So I wanted to give a little hint, and it leads into what you're going to do tonight.
Oh, cool.
Okay? What happens in
I'm
this...
not sure if I should be worried.
No. What happens in this quilt, let me show you one of the finished blocks. Am I okay, Eddie?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll notice that there's some strip piecing going on. You actually create some strips first and then piece them into this block. And one of the things that people are having a problem with is they're complaining that their center does not lie flat. Well, there's more than one reason, but probably the most common reason is that they aren't strip piecing accurately, and they're not cutting it accurately. And you say, well, it's strip piecing.
So you're saying they're bad strippers?
They're bad strippers.
So
and that's
do they need to
what
get a pole in
tonight's
practice?
show is about. Yes, they do. They do. We got some poles somewhere, don't we? Cool. Okay, so back to this. So this spurred me on to talk about
sewing strips.
Strips again.
Yes.
Yes. Because unfortunately what happens is a lot of people they're going, oh, we're just going to run a bunch of strips together, and they don't really think about the accuracy and what that's going to mean down the road. And it will catch you sooner. It will catch you. Last week I talked about it just a tad when I was showing a strip, and I turned it into a 4 corners. I got it somewhere. 4 patch. Thank you. Somebody's listening.
She wins the quiz! Yay!
That wasn't the quiz. Turned it into the 4 patch. And what I was talking about, and this is true, and you're going to see it again tonight, when I said, put the piece on top that you want to, and I thought of a good way to remember it too. Put the piece on top that you're going to want to iron the fabric to. And I said, oh, this is how I would think of it. Put the piece on top, the piece that goes on top, whether it's light or dark, because I'm going to show you a difference, is always the first one to roll over. Get it? Did you get it, Brent?
I get it, yeah. Just the first one to roll
the
over.
piece on top is always the first one to roll over.
That's what you said. I remember that.
We're waking up now. The other thing
I love, that's like a perfect example of intonation.
Yeah.
Because you both said the same thing.
That's funny as heck.
Meaning entirely different.
The other thing that I didn't clarify is we talked about how I was showing how I use a clapper to flatten the seam in the middle. See how this is a week later?
I'm starting to get worried here. We're talking about stripping and getting the clap.
I know, but where's my clapper? Okay, I want to explain why a clapper works, because I failed to do that. It's not the weight of this thing. They come in many different sizes. In fact, I have a little one too.
Okay, so
why? Why would you use a clapper to flatten your seam, Brent?
I'm I'm looking at the comments, and apparently somebody's having a fire with marshmallows tonight. And if it's who I think it is, he doesn't even have a yard. Where's he gonna have a fire?
He has a little barrel.
A little barrel, okay, like a hobo barrel.
All right. Well, I'm talking about
the clapper the seam. So why would we put the clapper on the seams?
Here's what, and this really does run into what we're doing tonight. Fabric has memory, more memory than I have. It remembers where it was. A good example is when you take stuff off the bolt. It's got a very heavy crease there. And the first thing I tell you to do is get rid of that crease. If you're going to get a nice straight squared off piece of fabric, you got to get rid of that crease, because that crease is lousy. So get rid of it. What happens when you heat fabric, there's a period of time we heat it to get it to do what we want it to do, and then it cools back down. It is the process of it cooling back down that sends it back into its memory state or its relaxed state. This is science, Brent. Stop looking at me like that. When you put a piece of wood...
So you're saying that if you don't get it where you want it before it cools down, it's going to just go back to where it was at?
I'm going to iron it where I want. Now I want it to stay that way.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So after you take the iron off, if you don't set it,
It's
it
not
could
going
go
to
back.
It's not going to set nice and flat.
Okay.
It will not. It will remember how it was before. But by sticking a piece of wood on
Wasn't
top
that
of
part
it...
of the plot in Frozen 2, water having memory?
I got another use of the clapper. When you put the clapper on here, the wood is insulating the heat to stay in the fabric longer rather than it dissipating into the air. Yeah. This is science. It really. So
I just pictured glitter coming out of your hands when you did that.
Yeah, that fabric actually maintains that heat for a little longer, which helps it remember it to stay flatter. The other thing that happens is if you are a steamer, which I am not, but if you are a steamer...
A stripper and a steamer.
Yeah.
This is getting pretty exciting.
A clapper will actually, because it's made out of wood, will allow the steam to go into the wood, away from the fabric, which is, you don't want it really in the fabric. But the heat stays down in the fabric. And that's why a clapper works.
Okay.
Nobody cares. But I
thought
thought it was interesting.
It is very
I
interesting.
got one.
You did?
I got one a long time ago.
You never use them?
No.
Well, I don't use them on everything, but when I have something where I really want to keep it nice and flat and tidy, like on my 4 patches, it's just, okay, now you're going off and doing the other one. And you can stack them too. Did you know you can stack your ironing as well? Because think about it. If you have a piece down here and you iron it, and you put a piece on top of it and you iron it, you have, not iron, press. I stand corrected, press. What happens is you're keeping the heat in that fabric even longer. So, anyway.
Why don't we just get one of those big industrial steam press things that you see in all the movies? Like in the Kung Fu movies when they have the fight in the dry cleaning place and they kick the guy
out of
into
the
it?
fabric. You don't want the steam in the fabric. You want the steam out of the
Okay.
fabric. I don't use steam. But you want to keep, if you want a flatter seam, if you have a trouble with getting a flatter seam, it works like if you're doing star blocks, this really does help a lot when you've got a lot, even more than just
Can you
two.
get them in different shapes, or is that pretty much like the given shape?
I think they come in different shapes
I'm
and
just-
different sizes, and they're basically raw lumber that's nice and smooth.
So they're probably that's probably $600 worth of wood right there now.
Nowadays it is. Okay, but anyway, I don't know if any of you know who 3 Dudes are or have done any. Have you done any of their strip quilts?
3 dudes?
Yeah. They
Quilt.
They have some really interesting stuff out there. And what I wanted to show you is how important it is to strip accurately so it comes out the way you want it. This is kind of cool. This is a variation. This is not their patent. This is a variation. I decided, and you can make your own patent from this, okay? Basically, I decided what I wanted was a 12-inch finished block. And I knew I had 3 pieces of fabric I wanted to work with. I got it. Thank you. And I just basically calculated my different sizes. And I decided this one was going to be 1 inch, this was going to be 1.5, and this one was going to be 2. And the whole trick to making this block work is to be symmetrical. Okay, so pick something down the middle. Oh, no, Eddie, I'm sorry, I'll fix it. Pick something down the middle and then go to either side of it and make it symmetrical. Can be any size. You can do an 18-inch if you want. I didn't, I chose 12. Now, before I cut these strips, I don't fancy cutting these long strips and leaving salvages on them. I
course you don't.
want the salvages off. I want my strips to be at a known length. Here's why.
Now, here's my question, though.
There's a real reason.
Okay, tell me the reason. I'm going to ask you a
The
question.
real reason is it's very much like when you put borders around your quilt. If you just say, I'm going to sew this strip of fabric on, it's good enough. I'm going to sew this strip of fabric on, you measure nothing. You just go, I'm going to sew a strip of fabric that's long enough to cover all of this. When you're done, the odds of that quilt being square is slim to none. because fabric stretches and moves. So if I want my strips to be just perfect, or as close to perfect as I can get them, I'm going to make sure that I have them all the same size to begin with, so that my ends line up. I don't want to be hacking off extra stuff at the bottom and the top, because you're hacking it off because you didn't pay attention when you sewed it in the first place.
I just planned for that.
No.
But my question is,
Because when you see how this block goes together, you won't be consistent, Brent.
I get it, but my question is, if this came from three dudes quilting, did they
Put
cut
your-
their strips or did they just throw it together? I'm just curious how the dudes did it.
The dudes,
The dude abides.
the dude abides,
The dude abides.
had issues in their final product because they threw it together.
I had a
Okay.
suspicion. I had a suspicion. If they haven't, if
So,
they're called
for
three
the
dudes quilting, I highly doubt
We're
that
gonna
they
get this done. I want to show the magic of this block.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I have cut my strips to smaller just for tonight's show. It's not that I wouldn't do a 44 inch strip. As long as they were all 44, I would. But truthfully, if I knew I had a 12.5 inch block I was working with, I would cut everything at 12.5 and I would start sewing. I wouldn't.
Oh,
I would.
wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Doesn't that? But in all seriousness,
And I'm pinning this for you.
Yeah, and
the
about all
beginning and the
seriousness,
end.
but
You're gonna
doesn't
sew
cutting
this.
but doesn't cutting the strips to 12.5 defeat the purpose of strip quilting to some
No,
degree?
no, because you can still chain piece. You're going to get
Yeah,
more
but if-
accurate results.
But if you're just okay,
I'm not using a jelly roll here. Oh, did I unthread my needle? Yes, I did. Hang on one second. Brent, I use 1/4 inch on all of these. And that's what you're going to do, okay? And what I'm doing, because I'm careful about my beginning and my end here, this is something else I want to tell people, especially with stripping, okay? A lot of people will pin and they'll go, yeah, okay. First of all, they'll pin this way. Don't want you to. I want you to pin this way. That allows you more space. You can go over the needle. Where should I be, Eddie? Help me. Okay. So what they do is they fail to line up the complete flat side.
Can I get into pinning real quick?
Okay.
No, you don't like the pen.
Yeah, but I'm gonna teach you all pinning.
Well, he doesn't have to pin if he doesn't want
Okay,
to.
I'm
I would not pin this.
But I
if
just want to show you. So
we're live. So.
something important. So see how she's pinned it this way? If you were truly gonna go crazy and pin properly, want to hand me another pin? The next pin would go perpendicular to it. Have you seen this?
No.
The reason being, see, this is why I don't pin, but I know how. See, I've got skills. I just
I have
don't use
not
them.
seen this, so this is interesting.
And this is interesting now because it's interesting. You started out, you were saying that you pin this direction to keep that lined up because
Keep
it will slide
stuff
because
right.
it slides this way with the pin.
Yes.
So that's going to go that way. So if your next pin goes this way, it prevents the sliding from that direction
Oh.
back and forth. So if
yeah.
you alternate your pins, you're gonna
Interesting. That's pretty
stabilize
cool.
that seam in both directions.
I like that.
Being pinned in just this way, you've only stabilized the seam up and down,
Yeah.
but not back and forth because it will
Right.
still slide.
Right.
So, if you alternate pins perpendicular to each other, you'll stabilize both directions.
Cool. That's good to know.
All right.
But most people wouldn't put any pins in this.
Oh,
size.
I wouldn't either.
Right.
Like I said, I know how to
So
pin, but do I?
at bare
No.
minimum, though, because what happens, especially if you're new at it and you come in and you haven't pinned anything in the beginning, you get one of these things going on, in the beginning, and then it's not going to line up. It's going to look horrible. So what you want to do, at a bare minimum, if you're new, and lots of us, I would not normally pin this, but it is live, and I want to try and get you to sew this straight.
It is going to be straight. I sew so fantastic.
He's going to make a 1/4 inch seam. Now listen, Linda.
Linda.
The one that's on top.
Escúchame, Linda.
I have a pin question.
Okay.
See?
If you pinned it like he said, wouldn't that get annoying while you're trying to take the pins out while you're sewing?
Sí, muy molestado.
Well, if you pinned it outside of here, like this, I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm making you work hard tonight. If you pinned it outside of here, you're not going to run into them.
Yeah.
You wouldn't take.
Notice how far away I pinned this from the seam allowance. I'm not going to run into it.
Okay.
I don't want to have to take my pins
Well,
out.
that's why I don't put the pins in, because I'm just going to take them out, so why bother?
Yeah,
I mean,
okay. Well, anyway,
Give that step.
yeah, I'm going to put them in like you said to put them in, just to make you work.
oh, just to make me pull them out?
Oh, no, I'm not.
I was going to say, because that's
Okay,
just
we
worth
got to
putting
get this
them in.
done. I want you to sew a 1/4 inch. Now, keep in mind, see which one I have on top?
Yes.
one that's gonna
The
roll
one that's going
over.
to roll over.
The other thing when you're making this block is I have built it this way. So as it gets bigger, these blocks is not big a deal. They fit in that throat space. But think about it. You want the build to happen over here. The block to grow on this side, not on that side. The other thing I've done is made sure my feed dogs are clear. Okay, people complain that their stuff doesn't lay flat or it's a little puckery when it comes out. Lots of times that can be because your feed dogs aren't being allowed to do what they should do, and that's to feed the fabric in evenly. The other thing you should do, oh God, you make me nervous, is
Why?
I like to turn my stitch length down to 2. I know some people use a longer stitch length. I like a smaller stitch length because, again, it's more accurate. As the feed dog moves, the needle goes in, the feed dog moves, the needle goes in, the feed dog. If you're ending up with a lot of unevenness when you take your fabric out of your machine, take a look at those two things because it should lay fairly flat before you set the seam. We have a guide on our foot right now. We have a guide.
Well, Brent needs a guide for the guide.
Okay.
I got to
So-
redo that.
Oh my God.
What? What?
All right, we got to move on. We don't have time.
Well, no,
I'm not going to make you redo it. We don't have
No, I
time.
have to redo it. It's got nothing to do with the seam.
Really? Because that's not a 1/4 inch seam.
It's got to do with the fact that the bobbin was kind of jacked up.
I just sewed 4 strips.
Well, I would check all those strips then because the bobbin was...
Okay, and this is what you don't, another thing that you don't want to do. And this has nothing to do with the bobbin being jacked up, Eddie, my friend. You know your fabrics are lining up evenly when you
But you see, that's because you didn't spin it all the way.
see how much overage is showing on this seam, on this side, and none on this side. That's not cool.
Because you had the pin going in the wrong direction,
well,
it slid on.
It's just it's a bad sewing job, but we have to move on. So first thing I'm going to do is say, "Oh, Brent, why do I let you touch it?"
Well, hold on a second. I want to check
Let's
something.
set my
I want
seam.
to just check something before you set your seam.
I got to show you the
I
trick.
know. All right, it'll be fine.
It'll be it'll be off. Okay, Eddie, can you do a top down for me? This is a 1/4 inch seam. I don't know if that seam is showing. This is Brent's. Okay, it's not even close to being accurate.
I understand. I was on
Which
I was
means-
on the parallax. That's what.
Which-
See, I was over
which-
here. The angle that the parallax it threw me off.
The good news is I didn't let him sew the whole block. I only let you put the last strip on.
But you're gonna square it up anyway, so.
No! That was all, the whole point was how to be accurate. Oh my Lord, you ruined my block. Everyone, remember, his strip is the last strip.
Why do you have him sew?
Because he makes me laugh. All right, so now I've got 2 blocks that are absolutely identical.
Except for that last strip.
But they're beautiful. Now picture, you can do this with any fabric. I love this idea. So, and it teaches you to really get good at your stripping. Okay? Accurate, accurate, accurate.
Do you need a pole for that?
So now I'm going to take, this one is down this way. I'm going to let you ruin this block. This one,
I got the bobbin
Face-
fixed, so it's gonna be perfect
face together. You can't measure. Face together, it's going straight down like this. So do you see what I have? Do you see this? I have one with my stripes going this way, one with my stripes going that way.
now. I see it.
Now, Brent, you are going to do 1/4 inch seams
I'm gonna. Yeah.
all the way around.
All right.
All the way.
All the way around.
All the
okay.
way.
And the blocks are now set perpendicular to each other.
When you get to this side, you're going to be careful to make sure you don't mess up the seams. You're going to make sure they're flat when they go through.
Okay.
I don't want to see any of this pucky stuff.
Pucky stuff.
Yeah, where you roll.
Did you say that with a P?
Where you roll the. I did say it with a P. I did. I'm not even going to pin. If you're going to pin, you can pin. The good thing is, think about this. Look at. I just got to make sure I keep these going this way, and I got to make sure, nice and flat. 1/4 inch all the way around.
Eddie, are you on top of
Has
that?
anybody seen this before?
I have. I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, you have seen it? Have you made one?
I don't think.
What I like about it is once you understand the logic, which of course that's all I care about, right? Is figuring out how it works. I'm thinking, wow, you can do almost anything.
So have you done a whole pull?
No, of course not. I just want to figure it out and then move on. You know me.
That's what I thought.
I just figure it out and move on. But we're going to set this up for cutting when you're done. We're going to have a magic show. Have you seen this, Brent?
I can picture it because of the fact that I've done this with, I never thought to do this with my own squares. I've done it with, layer cakes.
Oh, stripped?
No, unstripped.
Oh,
Like you're making pinwheels, you can do this very similar trick to make like pinwheels out of a couple layer cakes.
okay. Yep.
Or 5-inch squares.
Yeah.
It's a very similar, but I can see now with the strip, it's going to be very interesting.
It really makes for a really nice. Boy, you're having issues there, my friend.
Well, this time I'm going to blame the machine.
Just so everyone knows, pre-show, I made these blocks with
0 issues.
to make sure the machine was working properly.
Oh,
And then I sabotaged it so I could sit you in front of it.
what is going?
Are you having problems with that bobbin?
Yeah, I'm having problems with something. Yeah, that looks good. Okay.
Bob and everything?
This is exciting. This is what everybody tuned in for, to watch Brent fight with a machine.
Yeah.
I know, right? We're stripping and taking off the covers.
You said stripping. Are we bringing on?
What's that? We are not kid friendly.
We are
Though-
not. Which
though-
then you just heard me F-bomb and left and right with my
But
golf clubs.
I
didn't ya?
learned something very interesting.
Come on, hurry up.
What is this?
Well, what was interesting?
Oh my goodness. Brenda, you want to go sew 1/4 inch seam around this for me?
I will do that in just a second.
We should be done by now.
Well, I know we should be done, but
What are you doing?
He's ruining my machine. He's got thread going here, thread going there, thread going everywhere. He just wants to make kitty blocks. He doesn't really want to make a... Come on, this is magic. Anybody in the audience do this before? Oh, no, something's dreadfully wrong.
yeah, something's ain't.
Yeah,
Well, oh, I see. I know exactly what's wrong.
yeah, I know.
It's I got it fixed.
I know. You're going to ruin my
No, I'm
pretty
not. I got
block.
it right. I know exactly what's wrong.
Oh, Brent.
Right there. The classic mistake. I didn't have my uptake lever threaded.
Brent.
How it came out of the uptake
Look
leather.
what you've done. You've chewed holes in it.
It'll be fine.
Oh, Brent.
No worries, Becky.
Do the best you can, okay?
I always strive to give it 110%.
Really?
No. I'm not gonna lie. I
Let's rehearse that earlier, because that was adorable.
honestly I learned long ago, and this is a character flaw that I have.
One.
It's probably the biggest one, is sometimes I just don't care that much, and if I don't care that much, you know, half-assing it is in my vocabulary.
I want to get a little of that in my vocabulary.
Don't get too much of it, because my word, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get done.
I know. But I this is so painful.
I feel like I'm part of some sort of, like, we're trying to cure your OCD, so we're like doing everything wrong.
You know,
Like some sort of immersion therapy.
I really am trying to have a little of you rub off onto me, but this is
We
probably
want you to rub off on
this is probably too much anxiety right now.
They do make some good drugs for that, I'm told.
You know, here's another story while you're ruining my block. My husband bought me some GABA. You ever
GABA?
hear GABA?
No.
GABA.
GABA?
That's what I said. GABA. He goes, this should help calm you down. I'm like, how many of those do you think it's going to take? He brought this big can of them. I mean, it's huge. It looks like a bowl of dog treats or something. And he says, how about you take them when you first get up in the morning? And I'm like, no. How about you take them before you go to bed? Oh my
I
gosh.
could just see.
I
I have this vision of your husband in the kitchen with this bowl of dog treats, and you come in and he pats you on the
Have
head.
some GABA.
Pats you on the head and gives you a GABA.
Have some GABA. Yeah, it's really bad. But my nighttime dreaming thing is keeping him up all night long. But this happened. Now you keep sewing though. This happened. He has this fancy dancy mattress he had to have. It's got like this memory foam thing on it, and then above it is like this thin water thing. It's water, and it's got channels that goes around it, and you can.
So it's like a new wave hipster waterbed?
You can, but no, because it doesn't go squish, squish, but it molds to your temperature. So you say, look, I want to always sleep at 70 degrees. So summer, winter, fall, spring, my bed stays at 70 degrees. It either heats the water or it cools the water. But on top of that, he's got a program in it that says every time you move, so he counts how many times you move in your sleep. He checks my talking and my movements every morning. It's like his thing, which is why he bought all the GABA. But last night at 3 a.m., he's going to kill me for telling this story. At 3 a.m., I hear wrestle, 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 wrestle. And I'm like his side is temperatured his way and mine is temperatured my way because I like it colder than he does nowadays. He gets up and he goes, oh my God, I don't think I wet myself, but I'm soaking wet. I'm soaking wet. And I'm half asleep and he goes, I swear to God, my pants are soaked. He sleeps in his kitty boxers too.
Okay.
He said, my pants are just soaking wet. And I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, I'm finally sleeping, let me sleep. Well, apparently his side sprung a leak. So I get up this morning. He leaves sometime during the night to go sleep elsewhere. I get up, I pull the covers back, and there's this huge pond on his side of the mattress. It didn't come over to my side, but his is wasted. And of course, the mattress is now ruined, but they're sending us a new one because I said, hey, it broke right on his ass. I could feel the broken tube. I'm like, what were you doing? It's like getting an enema in your sleep.
See, now you can see he's a hard ass though, because he broke the mattress.
He broke the mattress.
Done with 4 sides yet?
He's just. Yeah, look, we gotta
Don't look
move
at that
on.
side.
You
Don't
gotta
look at
move
that
on.
side.
They're gonna have to visualize. All right. So then the next thing you do is find my cutter. Okay. Next thing you're gonna do is clip your little corners. I should make you do this too, Brent. Get over here.
Why? If I was going to clip corners, why am I using a rotary cutter?
Well, see, you didn't go all the way up either.
But we're going to clip it off, so it doesn't matter.
You're using those to clip your corners? Oh, no, don't use those.
Why not? All right, I'll use a rotary cutter if you want. Do you have a ruler?
I do, but why do you need a ruler? You just clip
Because
the
I'm
corner.
using a rotary
Well,
cutter.
then I'll clip the corners. You're going to do the rest of it.
All right.
Jesus. Jose.
So anyway, what I was saying about being kid-friendly on YouTube, I learned something.
Okay, now, wait. You have to work while you
Okay.
Now
I'm
what
not-
he's going to do,
Overhead, I didn't.
because now you're like, oh, what is this?
It's a bean bag without beans in it.
And no way to get them in. So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut it this way.
Yeah.
Completely.
And that way?
Yeah,
We're going to cut a big X.
yeah.
So anyway, I learned that, because we never say we're kid-friendly here on this show, just so because.
Because we're not. Although my granddaughter wants to come. So I'll have to behave that day.
Now, I should have positioned this better.
I'm sorry, you should have.
Or
But
we
if
could-
you want, you can move the mat.
Or we could just.
I should have brought my rotor. Oh my God! You did not just do that.
See, there's a 40.
What is the matter
There's
with
a
you?
45 right there. Watch.
No.
Yes,
Oh.
watch.
Okay, people, no.
I can't do it from the side.
Oh my God.
Redo, I missed everything.
Oh my God. Okay, Brent.
What?
He cut it and then moved one side.
I know what you're doing, but
Yeah, but-
if this doesn't work, it's not on me. Just
That's yeah. I'm giving you an out.
give me a lot of outs.
See, we're still perfect there. We got the 45
Yeah.
lined up there. But you want to make sure you're on the 45, not the 30, because the 30 will throw it all off.
Yes, I know. I should have just, yeah, I know. What you should do is turn your mat,
Yeah.
not the block, or use your rotary mats,
But that's why most
or
rulers.
move around the table.
That's
but
what most of
he
the.
doesn't fit around the table.
Yeah, I haven't missed too many suppers. So anyway, like I was saying, kid-friendly YouTube. I'm not saying you should
well,
watch this
we're
video.
I still have a quiz
But
to
Little
do,
Nas X latest video is considered kid-friendly.
Okay, now we're gonna.
Little Nas X, and the premise of the video is it's a stripper that pole dances down to hell, and that is kid-friendly.
Oh.
So it's a
How that's
pretty,
kid-friendly?
it's a pretty low bar.
Now remember, Brent, the one on top.
The one on
is
top.
the one who rolls over first,
Yes.
right? Press, press, press. Truthfully, I'm very prepped, so lots of times I can do this and get away with it. Yeah. All right. Now, isn't this magical? Look what we're gonna have.
Is Che talking crap? Does he need to get deleted?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
He actually asked me if he
That might
could be
be-
a moderator.
that might be a little. We don't. No negativity is what we said, right?
Yes.
No negativity. I don't
Positive-
have time.
positive
I don't have
vibes.
time in my life for negativity, people. We do this to hopefully entertain you and hopefully teach you something. I think I'm giving you a free quilt pattern here.
I think this is true.
Now, Brent, do you see what's going on? What we have now?
That I did an awesome sewing job,
Well,
and we have this fantastic.
Not awesome because we don't have enough blocks to prove how. Can you remove those
Remove
scavenger
what?
threads?
Yep.
Because I don't want to show. I want to show you how this comes together. It's so, to me, it's magical. And what else is magical is you can use any number of strips, any size block. You know, like, I got this beautiful fabric. I don't know what I'm going to make with it. Whoa!
Now, the reason the 1/4 inch seam is important,
Yes.
because if you look at this block,
Yes, because you're about
You
to
will
see what
notice-
he didn't do, but okay.
I'm just going to show this so people understand the concept.
Yeah, well.
If you'll notice, you see how each one of these is a 1/4 inch seam.
It's
If I was
supposed
off
to
by a
be.
1/4 inch, if I'm off by an eighth, if I'm off by a 1/16 of an inch here, a 1/16 of an
Well,
inch
here's a
here,
good example because
and a 1/16 of an inch here, and a 1/16 here, that adds up to a 1/4 inch that we're off. So that's why it's important to maintain your 1/4 inch seam, because as you get more seams,
you're not supposed to have this
yeah, as
when
you
we're
get,
done.
as you get more seams, it's going to be further and further off.
And they're supposed to be squares, okay? And these two, I don't know if you noticed when I handed them to you, yours was not
Oh, I know, mine was
lined
off
up
a little bit.
to, and so
Because my
you
seam was off.
You end up with stuff like that, but we can still just show you how cool of a quilt pattern you start to make. Oops, there goes
See, we don't
the
even have to
pen.
sew. See,
I'm
look.
putting the crap at the end.
See, this is
so
our overhead cam, looking
This is
pretty
it.
sweet.
I know.
That was Sunday's
I'll
project.
hide this over there. But look at that. Isn't that neat? Now,
See, and
and
we're gonna-
picture as it grows, what's happening? Now the green is over here, right? Do you see what's happening as it
Yeah.
grows?
Oh, isn't that neat?
Isn't that the coolest thing? Watch
That is.
as it grows.
But all of your strip sets to start have to be the same strip sets. To get
Yes, and they have to be symmetrical for this
Yes.
to work. Which is why I said I picked a middle one, which in my case was this 2-inch green one, and then I built my block from there.
and there's a bunch
But-
of different ways you could lay this out.
Exactly. And is this? Look at how pretty it is. Now picture. Now I'm growing this way. I'm really excited about this. See?
I'm digging it.
Really neat.
I like it.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And it's
And see, Shay could even make this.
yeah.
You could, Shay.
I know. I was just, and Matt, what I would do is I would pick, whatever you want as your accent color to be your smaller strips. And there were 4 of them when we started. There's one middle strip, and then in my design, I used 4 of these here, and I used 4 of these here. And they're symmetrical. See, middle strip, 1, 2.
And
3,
you're probably
4.
going to get best
1,
results
2, 3, 4.
if you use an odd number of strips.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, you kind of do because this is the middle.
Yeah, but you
This
could
is
take
the middle.
if you took the green out and just put those 2 together.
Well, that wouldn't be as pretty though.
That's what I'm saying. Odd number of
Yeah.
strips.
And you see the squares and it just starts to come
Yeah,
alive.
it's
Yeah.
very interesting. That is fantastic. I like it.
Isn't that cool?
It is.
So it's my
Even with my awful sewing.
even with your awful sewing, but yeah. And what I like about it is any fabric. It doesn't have to be. You can use jelly rolls, but it would look too stripy, too scrappy for my
Yeah.
look. I'm not a scrappy thing. But if you get a light, a medium, and a dark, boom, you're done.
I like it. That was cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir. I thought it was cool too.
I guess we'll keep you around for
Alrighty.
another week.
Well, keep me around for thank you, Bev. I thought it was very cool. We could all sit here and become great strippers now. Danny, this is a great way for you to practice your stripping. Okay? And have a beautiful quilt when you're done. I mean, excited.
Yeah.
Until I let you touch it, I was going to complete it and use it to show you all how to do edge to edge. But now, I don't know. I don't even think it'll make a pretty picture.
No, I think you should complete it, and then
You have to do the edge.
yeah,
to
you
edge.
should complete it, and then we can look at it and we can say that's where Brent screwed it up,
Yeah.
and you can all see
I
how
think-
one strip
it's a
just
nice
throws it all off.
happy. This is stuff I bought here years
Oh, yeah.
ago, and I still love it. So I have a tuffet made out of this fabric line. So